Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today, our obsession with beauty. I've noticed this kind of recently. I mean, it's pretty self explanatory and self evident that our society and all of us are ever chasing and are obsessed with beauty and things that look good, things that have an aesthetic to them. And I don't know. Recently, it's just become a lot more apparent. I was watching, I'll tell you what inspired this whole video. I was on TikTok and I was watching, I get these like cocktail videos where they like make a really fancy cocktail. And it was like this lavender, whatever, but they had placed like lavender buds on the outside of the glass, like running up to the rim. And I was thinking like, that is so like wasteful, ridiculous, dumb, like impractical, like absurd, silly. And they even showed you how to use like simple syrup to make them like stick to the outside of the glass, and it has absolutely no functional purpose except it looks pretty. Like it makes the glass and the drink inside of the glass look very aesthetically pleasing. Although you would never have that in real life. It's so unpractical. It's so dumb. It's wasting like lavender buds that you can use in baking and all kinds of other stuff. Like I'm a baker, so I was just like, that's dumb. But it's beautiful. And we seem to be really interested and fascinated and obsessed with the idea of beauty, the idea of looking beautiful, the idea of having an aesthetic life. Everyone's Instagram has got to be beautiful and manicured, and everyone jokes about like going out to the grocery store looking your best, all glammed up. You've got to look beautiful, even if you're just doing a mundane task that's like an everyday kind of thing. And like, I don't know, I think we're definitely addicted to it. I'm addicted to it. You're addicted to it. We all like things that look pretty, have an aesthetic sense of whatever. I think a lot of it comes down to the idea of like, we see something beautiful and it makes us think that it's perfect. It's, when you see someone who's like really well dressed and they have like a really nice outfit on, you kind of look at them and you're like, man, they must have their whole life together. And that is so untrue. I mean, they might have just cheated on their girlfriend, or, they have a really bad relationship with their parents. They're unemployed. Like, just the surface level appearance gives us this whole impression of somebody, and we think, oh, they must have like everything figured out, when that is so untrue. Like those two things are not collaborated or corollary. They're not the same. Like they can't, just because one thing exists doesn't mean the other has to be true. And I think it's all well and good to have a love of beauty. Obviously, I like beautiful things. We all do. But I don't know. I've also had this like streak of practicality in me for a long time, probably since I was a little kid. I don't really I see the practical side of things, and I admire the practical more than I admire the beauty. I think I'm becoming more beauty obsessed as I'm like deeply involved in social media and those kinds of things. And that's a little bit worrying because I think practicality rules. I think it's awesome. Everything that has a place and everything is in its place and it makes sense and it's functional and it makes my day more efficient and all of this stuff. And obviously it's a balance. Like obviously has to be some moderation and some give and take depending on the circumstance. But it's an interesting idea, trying to balance like practicality, but also having like a love and appreciation of beautiful things. This is a good example. This sideboard has been in my family for like 130 years or something like that. It's beautiful. It's very gorgeous. It has this whole aura around it. It's like the centerpiece of my living room. And so that's why I chose to but like, yeah, again, it's practical. It has like a function. It holds our drinks. It holds a bunch of random stuff in here, like placemats and all this other stuff. And then it has like a storage thing right here. So like, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's also practical and it also fits the room. And if you'd seen the whole room, you would have known like there really isn't anything other to put here other than something like a sideboard. And so I can appreciate both, but you can also have the best of both worlds. And I think in our society now, we have become so obsessed with the idea of beauty, and that we're really like, we're limiting the functionality or productivity or use of it. And I am the last person to tell you that everything has to be productive, everything has to have a purpose, like your day always has to be productive. I'm the last person to say that, because you should enjoy your day, you should appreciate what you're doing, you should have, pride and encouragement with what you do and how you do it and the things around you. But the obsession has reached a point where, they say that an addiction is when you are so addicted to something that it prevents you from carrying out the rest of your day normally. And I feel like, especially on social media, we have gotten to that point where beauty is just a little too like highly rated. Um, and it's been the case on Instagram for a long time that beauty is the most important thing. Like it's not about showing people what you did in your day or connecting with people. It's about how aesthetic a life you live, and showing it off with filters and music, and making sure that everybody sees how aesthetic your life is, how picture perfect, how spectacular. And I don't necessarily think that that is super healthy, obviously. I think a lot of us have realized that like Instagram and social media needs to be taken with a grain of salt and has to be moderated, because boy, oh boy, do you feel like a sense of like feeling like you're missing out, feeling like you're not good enough, inadequacy, insecurity, feeling like your body could be better. And so like the more you follow that like obsession of beauty, obsession of aesthetic, I think the more insecure and likely you are to like break down or have like a mental breakdown and like lose it, because it's an unattainable thing. I can post 20 pictures on Instagram and someone can look at them and think, oh my gosh, this guy's life must be so perfect, it must be so much fun all the time, blah 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 blah. When it's not. I have high moments, and those are all captured on my feed on the pictures I present, but it doesn't capture the difficult nights, the hardship, the loss, sickness and unhealth, all of that stuff. And it creates this false perception that, oh, everything has to be beautiful. And on social media, beauty is encouraged. If you post just like a picture of yourself looking like meh, 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, you're not going to get as much likes or comments or adoration or fame, or you're not going to get that stuff, because the algorithms and other people are interested in stuff that looks good, interested in aesthetic things. And I just don't know where it all goes. Like I was saying about the drink on TikTok where they had the lavender buds on the outside of the glass. It's excessive. And it's trying to show off more. Like, why did I start watching that TikTok channel? Well, I thought looking at how different cocktails were made were really cool. I was trying to like learn how you make like a gin fizz or whatever. And now, in order to keep my attention, the channel has to provide all of these aesthetic things. They have to make it look bougie. They have to have all this video editing, which I can appreciate, but I can also just ask myself, like, what was the point of me looking at this stuff? Like, I will never make a drink that pretty. I might be able to make that drink, but I won't be able to make it as aesthetically pleasing unless I, go above and beyond. And then, I'll post it and be like, oh, look at me, I'm so cool. And it's like, what's the point? Like, the point is the drink. The point is how to create this thing and, share it with people you love. And so you kind of start to miss the whole point of the thing itself when you're focused on the beauty of it or the aesthetic nature of XYZ. And I'm just like introspective of it. I'm just sort of thinking about it and analyzing it. And I don't really have like a real strong thought on whether it's okay or not, or whether our obsession with beauty is like mostly a negative thing, mostly a positive thing. Like it's a difficult dilemma, and I don't have my mind made up on this, but I don't know. I just thought it warranted like a bit of a conversation. And to talk about beauty and what is beauty and why do we strive for beauty. And I really do think it is that idea of perfection, that idea of chasing something that just looks fantastic. And I don't know if that's a healthy pursuit. Is it more healthy to maximize your productivity and try and achieve things and, capitalism your way to success? Or is it better just to enjoy the beautiful things and appreciate it and have this very surface level life where, you're not really appreciating everything. It's all for looks. It's all for show. Those are like the hyper extremes, and both of them are obviously wrong. But where on that scale from everything is beautiful but nothing means anything to everything is productive and I'm making a lot of money, where on this scale do you want to be? Do you want to be right in the middle? Do you want to appreciate beauty more, productivity? I think it's like a big distinguishing factor for people. I think you can tell a lot about someone by whether they think it's better to be young and beautiful or productive and making money. People seem to have different priorities based on who they are, which is fine. I definitely have friends who are on one side of the extreme or the other, beautiful people and productive hustle kings. But I just don't know. I don't know the spectrum or how I want to be. Like I said, I've always appreciated functionality and practicality and getting things done. But I'm starting to appreciate the beauty of things. But I'm also seeing the superficial nature of that. And I'm I don't like that either. So both have positives, both have negatives. It's a spectrum, everything in moderation. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not very helpful today. But I'm just I'm currently thinking about this. I make a video and I'll have a set thought about something. But I really don't have a set thought on this topic. I really don't have I know the answer to life today. So if you could help, that would be great. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop rambling because I'm just continually thinking it over in my head and we're not getting anywhere. So I hope it opened your eyes to the idea of our beauty obsessed culture and world and all of that kind of stuff. Let me know where you fall on this spectrum. What do you appreciate more? And thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad to know that there are people thinking about these things just like me, because I'd go insane if it was just me. Anyway, thank you for watching. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.